Welcome, listeners, viewers, wherever you are in the world. We are back for another episode of the Firstborn Daughters podcast. And I am super excited today because we have some new faces. We have some new daughters entering into the chat today. And I really feel the impact and just what they have to say is really going to pour into the hearts of all those who may be listening. So stick around, grab your tea, grab your blanket, get comfy because you are in for a treat today. Our episode today is talking about rewriting the narrative. You guys, if you've been listening since episode 1, you know that we talk a lot about just restructuring, reframing, and reprogramming ourselves as we have ascended into young women, adults, some of us mothers, the different roles that we take on in our personal lives. And so we talk about really honing into our authentic self and using that to fuel us in our everyday. So today we're going to talk a lot about things that we've unlearned to be able to thrive in our adult life, maybe some things we're still navigating through as firstborn daughters, and just some things that we can give to you guys as people who may be navigating and journeying through learning how to prioritize yourself and to love yourself more. So starting off, we're going to do just some introductions. You guys know who I am, but I'm going to pass the mic now to our beautiful guest.
Hello, my name is Denise. I also go by Denni on the internet. I am a wife, a mother, a homemaker. I also work a 9-to-5, but I am a creative. I do photography, videography, and I'm also a storyteller. Writing is my first love, and so I write everything from blogs to scripts, and really just a creative director altogether. I'm also raised in Norfolk, Virginia, Park Place to be exact.
Here he is.
I'm excited to be here.
So thank you for being here as well. I'm always honored to just be in the space and to just, like you say, show up as my authentic self. But my name is Monique Way. I'm a mother and I'm a wife as well. I am the executive director of Virginia Pathways to Justice. We are a social justice advocacy group that focuses on policy reform in communities of color and nonpartisan leadership training and development, just to make sure that we are civically engaged as people. And so even I think about my role there, as a firstborn daughter, I carry a lot of different things. So I'm excited to share some of my experiences with y'all today. And yeah, born and raised out here in Hampton Roads. I'm from Portsmouth, live in Newport News, graduated from Norfolk State as well. So yeah, thank you for having me.
Hi, my name is Liara Valentine. Born and raised in Norfolk, Virginia too. I'm in Chesapeake now, but still a Norfolk native. I do a lot of things, jewelry making, very intentional with mental health and spiritual techniques that you can use to help align your mind, body, and your spirit. I'm a mother of 3, and I'm excited to share my experiences as well as being a firstborn daughter.
Awesome. I can feel the energy in the room already. So I'm like, all right, let me prepare myself. Hopefully we don't need any tissues today, but we're going to rock and roll with it if we do on the first time. So daughters who may be listening, we want to kind of talk and go back to one of our first episodes where we really talked about what it means to be a firstborn daughter. It takes on so many different facets because I think there's even phases of that coming up, growing up in our teenage years and then transitioning into young women and young adults and then into womanhood. I feel with each phase, there have been just different things that have opened my eyes in ways unexplainable. And so I want to give you guys an opportunity to kind of talk about what it means for you to be a firstborn daughter. We talked a lot in our first episode about debunking the hero syndrome. And that is just the need to rescue, especially in areas of our lives that we weren't rescued. It's almost like this thing like, well, I didn't have it. So if in some way, if I could give this back or if I could help someone else, it's almost like I'm healing my inner child. So I've had to do a lot of unlearning and therapy behind what it really does mean to like pour my cup and to fill those voids. It doesn't always mean rescuing, if at all. So I would love, and anybody feel free to chime in. What does it mean to be a firstborn daughter?
Yeah, I mean, I can hop in. I know we've talked about it offline, but there is this pressure, especially when you're a firstborn daughter and like the eldest. So I'm the first girl, the first child, period. And so I have a younger brother and a stepsister, and there is this weight, I almost describe it as, because you, from a young age, you know that you have these other younger people looking up to you. So even being conscious of that as a child of how do I show up? Because I have to look out for my brother and my sister and like, carrying that responsibility before I even kind of knew how to be a leader. I was pushed into that role inherently because of being the eldest and the firstborn. So I try to unlearn that as I try to raise my daughter as well. If I do decide to have another kid, she will also be my firstborn daughter no matter what. And so I'm just trying to figure out how those like life learned lessons show up in motherhood, like you say, and trying to unpack that, because it gets exhausting as a mom. And then when you have relationships, trying to have your relationships with your siblings throughout life, it's just a lot of pressure. And so making sure that I stay present is really something that I've been working on, and not trying to be the perfect anything, and just allowing God to use me in the moment, whatever that may be, and just being there and showing up. But yeah, taking that pressure off of being a role model and trying to be perfect is hard. So, and as a leader and all these other things, it's difficult.
Yeah.
For sure.
Would you say guilt creeps in when you try to prioritize yourself often? That first feeling? Yeah.
All the time. Because it's, again, I feel responsible for the people that I love. And I guess throughout my life, because I have been in a leadership position, is just making sure that I'm also responsible for myself and loving on myself and showing up for myself, and not, again, what I look like as a role model. So, yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
When I think about being a firstborn daughter, I think it's like, an example I'll use is like, you're in a classroom, minding your business, and then the teacher calls on you to be the example. Yeah. And it just feels like there's this pressure because like you're a pioneer. Like I'm the first person that's being called to do something. So I have to get it right. Or else everyone else is going to fail. And kind of like what Monique was saying, you have to learn, I've been learning that I don't have to hold this pressure. Even though it's like unspoken, and it just appears. You don't know how it got to you, because in some cases it's not like, I know at least for me, it wasn't like somebody said, hey, you got to take on this responsibility, but I've kind of taken it on my own. In my case, I was the firstborn daughter for 27 years until I found my dad and found out that I had siblings. So I was the firstborn daughter and the only daughter. And I was also navigating grief because my mother passed away when I was very, very young. And being raised by, my mother's family, it kind of added that pressure of, dang, like now I've really got to do good because somebody else is taking care of me that typically wouldn't be, you know what I'm saying? So it just it was really layered, being a firstborn daughter, having that responsibility. There's layers to it. And over the years, especially with becoming a mother on my as well, it has helped me to kind of pull back some of those layers like the onion, and I'm still in the process of it, but I feel like I'm getting to the center, so to speak. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing and being vulnerable. Very powerful, very powerful. I know I resonate. It was nothing anybody told me I had to do. It's almost just like inheritedly, you just feel like if I don't do it, it's not going to get done almost. Definitely resonated there.
My experience with being a first daughter is like first in line, first in time with everything. And then like being experienced and experimented on with a lot of different things. So I'm just like, all right, okay. So when the next one come, I'll be able to be the one to, show them the way, show them how to do things. And like y'all was saying, nobody told me to do that. I just automatically assumed that I was supposed to do it.
Like unrealistic expectation.
But yeah, responsibility. Yeah.
I want to ask us all too, because all of us are mothers. One thing I noticed when I started realizing just how critical I was of myself, because I felt like there was this standard I had to withhold, I kind of like unconsciously had this same expectation for my son starting out. And I don't know, somewhere along the lines, I felt like I would just had him under this pressure that I didn't even know I was putting on him. It was like, it's very true that when how you treat yourself is how you like unconsciously treat others. So I'm just curious to know, like, did you guys kind of feel like, or maybe you guys were really intentional about nipping it in the butt beforehand? I didn't notice what I was passing down till Ezra was probably about 2 years old. So wondering if you guys kind of resonate with, were you like really critical of your children? Was the expectation really high? Was that something you observed?
Yeah, I don't know if that happened. It was to your point of this inherent accountability. It was like, Soraya, that's my daughter's name, Soraya, she should already know. Like, we've already had these conversations. Mommy has repeated it. And that is like, also, agree. You know what I mean? Like, let her live her life and make mistakes. And it's okay if she doesn't grasp it the first time. But to your point, it's like that's a layer of being the eldest and the first. It's like, well, how does it show up as mother? And I realized accountability without really sitting with her and teaching her the life lesson behind that accountability is like the piece that's missing, because she can still be accountable, but she also does not know. Mm-hmm. And so like, that's kind of to your point. It's like, I take that pressure off of her. It's okay to repeat yourself a few times, not a lot, but just enough so she can understand the lesson. And then we can have that conversation of accountability. But for a little bit, I was skipping over it. And so, yeah, that's something I had to unpack for sure.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think that I hate to say it, but I don't think I was like so intentional of not putting that pressure on her, because it just kind of happens. Like, you have these expectations, even if you think you don't, you kind of, you go about it with like, yo, you should know this by now type of thing. And I know what I've done, because a lot of what I've experienced with being a firstborn daughter in my situation was just this idea that I always have to be good. And so I think the one thing that I have been intentional about is teaching her to be honest. As opposed to, of course, you want your child to be good and not, be bad in school and, have manners and that type of thing. But I always try to teach her to be authentic, to be herself, because I feel like a part of being a firstborn daughter, you can kind of wear a mask. And I don't ever want her to feel like she has to put on a mask to be around me. I want her to be her authentic self all the time. And so that's something that I'm still, I have to keep reminding myself, when I catch myself having these expectations or expecting you to do things, right the first time, I have to remember, like, she's her own person. She can't do what I was taught to do. You know what I mean? I have to teach her the accountability, like you said, Monique. And yeah, just let her grow into her own person as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with my experience with my children, I make sure that I instill in them to like always be there for each other. I make sure I explain that all of them is going to have their own different life experiences, and nobody is going to have the same experience. So make sure what one person's life experience is, make sure you share that with the next, so that way y'all can all learn from each other. And like you said, always be honest and come to me whenever you having a problem with something. Just always tell the truth. I'm really big on that.
Yeah. I had to realize too, we lived in different conditions too. Then our children live in a whole different world than we did. So I'm like, Shawana, some of the stuff that you're expecting, how we it's because of how we were living. Like they don't have to learn it as hard as we did. They don't. It literally can just be like a conversation, like y'all said, like, hey, you can be authentic. I know you're going to feel this pressure that even when you come to me, you have to be good, but I want you to be honest. And I think that is so powerful. That's one of the things I think was a major breakthrough with me and Ezra. Like him feeling like I can just say it. You're not going to get upset with me. If what I say doesn't meet your expectation, I'm not going to feel like I'm not good enough. So we did a lot of communicating and unpacking around that. And now, oh my God, y'all, the filter is gone. The filter's gone. And sometimes I'd be like, I don't know, as a woman, I'm supposed to navigate these conversations, but he feels safe, so this is good. This is good. All right. So Denise talked a lot about feeling like I just felt like I had to be good. As the firstborn daughter, I am the example. People are looking up to me, especially my kids now. And so there's an expectation that I show up wearing this mask so that people are okay. Mm-hmm. I know we all have probably had to unlearn that. So if we could use that even as a segue, what are some things that you are either navigating through right now or you've really had to like break away from in order to keep your mind healthy and even balance out where your energy has to go?
If I can, especially with using that example, I know that is something that I have just recently started to navigate. So just to give a little, a little bit of a story, I am about to reach the age that my mother was when she passed away. And so that has been a journey in itself. And of course, you deal with grief, but if you've ever, really dealt with grief over like a close person, there's layers to it. It evolves over time and you think you're fine and you figured it out. And then the next day it's like, what is this? Where are we going? What just happened? And I think it was really very, very recently where I realized that a lot of the people pleasing that that was a real big habit for me is to always try to please everybody. But that came from the pressure of trying to be good, because I felt like if I'm good, then I am safe. I don't know what told me that. Maybe I watched too much TV as a child, because nobody in my family ever, they were loving. They took great care of me. I mean, I have examples, of course, when I became older where I wasn't as good and they didn't just throw me away or put me in orphanage or anything like that. But for some reason, I internalized I have to be good, because if I'm not good, I am not going to be safe anymore. And it wasn't until recent where I realized I have to flip that and look at how I teach my daughter, and all of them. My youngest is only 2, so it's only but so much I can, teach her right now. But what I tell my 6-year-old is, I can't save you if you're not honest with me. I need you to be honest with me, because then we can help, And I took that for myself and it changed that good into honest. So it's now, if I am honest, then I am safe, because now I realize where my true safety comes from. I don't have, and the safety can be anything from the approval of others, being emotionally safe, not just, physical or whatnot. Mm-hmm. I realized that I create the safety that's around me now, and I don't need anybody else's approval. I just have to be honest with myself. And as long as I am authentic to that, as long as I, I'm who I am and I'm not afraid to be that out loud, then I'm going to be safe. I don't have to keep wearing this mask of, no, I'm so good, I'm innocent. It's like, no, everybody does do stuff. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has a past. There are many things that people don't talk about that has happened in their life, and it's okay to be vulnerable. I think that was like one of the biggest pieces, like with being good, is that you are afraid to really express yourself, to express how you were feeling. And, once you've done it for so long, that sucks. It's like, no, I gotta get this off of me. You know what I mean? So yeah, that has been the new thing. If I'm honest, I am safe.
That's going to be a post. I'm safe as an affirmation that listeners, I hope you listen. Okay, we're gonna put it on the page so you can go back and read it. And we're gonna quote Denise, but honest, you are safe. Wow, thank you. Anybody else want to chime in? Different things.
Mine is being overly protective. Yeah, that was a really big issue, and it got to the point where I was just like, all right, well, I don't want to hear nothing that y'all got going on, because it's gonna put me in a mode where let me go in and just save you, even if it's something that they put their self in, and it's preventing them from learning, the situation, so it won't happen again. So I kind of like had to take a step back and be like, all right, I'm gonna be here to do that whole thing, so you won't really be getting the experience that you're supposed to get. Mm-hmm. So that was a really big one for me.
I resonate really heavy with that one also, especially if you had your own experiences where people who were supposed to keep you safe didn't. That overprotectiveness. And I unpacked that a lot in therapy, not being a helicopter parent, because I very much so was one at one point. But it was I just wanted my son to not go through the things that I went through. And a lot of it I was kind of perpetuating because I was just so fixated. I can't let this happen, what happened to me. So that is really powerful. God dropped this on me one day. He's like, the many miracles you have witnessed in your life, the many things I have kept you from, that same God I am to you, I am to your child. That same God I am to you, I am to the family that you love. And I know you're not trying to have a God complex, but this in hero syndrome, you are operating out of the ego. And I need you to, the way you trust me with you, I need you to trust me with them. And it was just like, okay, God, like take my hands off of it and take a step back. And I've been able to see that. I've been able to see Ezra see his fall or see the danger and be able to choose on his own. And that was something I was really worried about, because I felt like the parenting styles were so different with him and his father and I was afraid that he was going to miss certain things. So y'all, God is very much so supportive in those ways where we just don't need to go past where our levels are. So that is so powerful, Liara. So powerful.
Yeah, and if I can just add, second everything that y'all are saying. For me, it's been prioritizing my energy and, like you said, trusting God. Before my daughter, I felt like I could juggle a whole bunch of things, and it was okay. I can show up. I can do this. I can be there for you. I can be that person. But I have a little teeny human who needs me right now. My whoever does not come before her, you know. And so even going through motherhood and again watching her be the firstborn daughter of our family, it's just I need to make sure my energy is being poured into her and trusting that God is with us every step of the way and that I keep doing the work that I need to do to show up as a better parent for her every single day. But as long as she knows that her mommy and daddy love her, that's really our priority. But to your point, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot not sustainable at all. There's no way if she lives to be 100, there's no way I could be that type of mother that's always there. Like you said, helicoptering her for the rest of her life. It's just she has to be her own person. So learning how to take some of that pressure off myself, removing some of that weight, it's been a self-love and self-healing journey, but it's helped me be a better parent for her too. So I agree.
Absolutely, absolutely. I actually had a dream one time. I had a dream that Ezra was, anytime he gets emotional, it's like immediate like rescue. And in the dream, he was crying, like he was covered in what I thought was blood, and he was just saying how he was with these friends and something happened. So as in the dream, as I'm trying to figure out what was going on, he's unpacking. I'm realizing it's not even blood on him. It's like ketchup. It's ketchup. And then as he's unpacking the story, I'm hearing and I'm listening. I'm like, you actually was very much so involved. You weren't being influenced. You know how kids can kind of take advantage when they see, oh, mama gonna make sure anytime I get emotional or she think I'm in danger, she is gonna, it don't even matter. She can show up and say it. And I felt like God was showing me like, you got to chill out. You have to, you can't respond just because he gets emotional. He's gonna get emotional. He's a human being just like you. And you can't get all frazzled because you feel like, oh, I don't want him to feel this emotion. He's supposed to feel every emotion, but that's back to me. Not Denise said something about that too. I don't always resonate with certain feelings like anger, sadness, frustration. I try to push those things down and just be the light. And that's not having a human experience, and that's not being authentic. So I have been leaning into whatever the hell I'm feeling for probably about the past year, and just being okay with that. Hasn't been the easiest, but that is also very much so something I think is a navigation thing of being the first one. Absolutely. We talked about the things that we've had to unlearn and reconstruct. What's one thing that's really working for you right now?
So for me, it's practicing Reiki every day. At first, I was doing it not so every day. I say once or twice a week, and I was like, okay, what was the purpose of me paying for this course, right? So then I was like, all right, so as my Reiki master, she was just like, well, you need to do Reiki more. So as I started to doing it every day, that's when I started to shed a lot of the things that the responsibilities that I thought I was supposed to have in this life. And I was just like, let me be more of myself now. I don't have to have this. I don't have to be overly protective with these people. I need to work on doing that with myself, because then I had left myself just out in the open and unprotected, and nobody was doing that for me. So I said, all right, let me do this for myself now. And Reiki really helped me bring all of that within and see who I really am and the things that I like to do, and so forth. So Reiki helped me.
Yeah, but for me, I've gotten into the habit for the past year going out into nature. So there's a trail and I'm in the woods by the water at the creek, to just spend time with myself. Kind of like Liara said, decompressing and like prioritizing what is it that I need. This helps me get my day started. It helps me remain organized so I can again show up for my daughter, for people I love, for my job. But it helps me have that time to myself before I even jump into anything and just get my mind right and my mental. And so I've really been trying to find new ways. I've only been doing the trail, but I've really been trying to find new ways to just prioritize my mental health. So again, I could be a better person, because physically, that's one thing, but mentally and spiritually, that is a whole different ball game. And if that is off for me personally, everything else is out of alignment in array. So I just prioritize making sure I spend like at least an hour or so with myself every day, before I go give myself to anybody else.
Powerful. And I'm the same way. I don't pray. I don't meditate. It's just, I at this point, I don't know the days that I go without it, how, because not much makes sense on those days. So
I would say, I mean, I guess it's a culmination of everything that y'all said. But I look at it just taking care of myself. Taking care of myself has become my number one priority, because I realize that if I'm not good, no one else is going to be good. I think that, as a mother and as a wife, you're so worried about taking care of other people all the time, and we usually don't think about taking care of our own selves until it's too late. Or until there's an emergency. And I don't want, the act of caring for myself to ever be an emergent type of situation. Like I want to be taken care of the same way that I take care of these other people in my house. And so for me, it's been really building like a toolbox of sorts, whether that's, how I'm eating, cooking my food with intention. There are a lot of times where, this could be a little bit woo-woo. So my apologies. But sometimes I feel like, when you be eating out, a lot of times people's spirits be in that food, and every once in a while, like I can have this craving for something, and I'll eat something and I'll be so unsatisfied. It's because they weren't cooking this food with love. So cooking my own food, whether like I'm talking about everything from scratch, from the tortillas to whatever, bread, all of that. I've been like really, really getting into my homemaking bag with that, and then also with like working out in the morning, meditating, getting back into journaling, even my shower experience. Like I try to do these things that I'm doing for myself that I do on a normal basis. I try to do it with intention. So when I'm taking a shower, I'm like intentional. There are things that, pieces of you, I'm still trying to get myself back together. I got a 2-year-old, but things are not how they once were. But even with that, it's like, when you're washing your body, you're like, thank you, arms. Thank you, stomach. You were the home for 2 of my children, for 9 months. You kept them safe and you're still here. Thank you. I don't need you as much as you can kind of bring back, but I appreciate it, But, just finding ways to be intentional about how to take care of yourself and really enjoying that process and putting that before, doing anything else. Because, if you take care of you, everything else is going to fall into place.
There is nothing woo-woo up here. And I'm so glad you said that, though, because food dictates your mood for sure. And I have felt the exact same thing. And they tell you, cooks and chefs will tell you cook with love. Literally think about love and the care when you're cooking. And then I have experimented, and it tastes better.
It tastes better.
I mean, even the way your body responds to you eating. So I hope y'all are taking the gems to list. Like I'm full. I hope y'all are full. Because my God, food, yes.
Can I say my grandmother, rest her soul, she was my best friend ever. My best friend. She raised me, and she used to make the most simple. But them sandwiches hit like never. It wasn't just me that. In high school, she would make me 3 sandwiches a day because people would come and ask me for my sandwiches. And to this day, I graduated eons ago, and there'd be still like, yo, your grandma be making them sandwiches. And it's like, it's because she put so much love into it. All it was bread, mayo, turkey, cheese, but it hit different because that love was put into that, And so when I cook my food now, I'm trying to implement that same type of, that same love.
Come on now. Well, guys, I think we have really shared a lot. We've shared a lot. It doesn't seem like it's been 30 plus minutes, but it has. And so, yeah. So firstly, I just want to take a breath. I want us to take in. We talked about a lot of things that could bring up a lot of emotions for different people. Maybe you're someone who are listening and maybe you don't feel like you have a lot of support right now. And so these things can be triggering, like feeling like I'm actively still trying to figure this out. And that is why we have platforms like this. That is why you're able to come and listen to other women who have navigated these things, who are navigating these things, to know that you aren't alone. So if you're at home and you may be feeling some discomfort, take a deep breath and know that there are resources out here, and that to take things one day at a time. I want to honor the space. I want to honor each woman in this room right now. I want to honor even the words and just the wisdom that we poured out, and just take a moment as we're breathing in this moment to pour it back into ourselves. If you're listening at home, Maybe you felt like you've exerted a lot over the past couple of months, maybe a lot over the past couple of years. And maybe you're in a phase where you're really trying to balance and prioritize yourself. So as you breathe in, maybe close your eyes. Maybe close your eyes and think about all the energy you've given out, whether that's love, compassion, energy just in general, pouring into other people. And on your next inhale, I want you to visualize all of that energy, all that you have poured out, pouring back into yourself. Maybe spilling in through the crown of your head and traveling all the way down into the base of your spine. Know that you are fully capable and worthy of filling yourself first. Just take a moment to sit with that. And then come back into this present space. If your eyes are closed, you can blink them open. And we just want to thank each listener for being here. Thank each heart that is open. And before we leave, we're just going to share a gem. One thing we can give to our listeners to take with you after this point. I'll start. And it kind of piggybacks off of a lot of the things we've been talking about in this episode. The minute you feel that you're in a situation where you want to overdo, you want to overexert, that one thing that you're trying to give and pour into someone else, you probably need to give to yourself. For example, I'll say, I'm helping take care of my grandmother who has dementia. And there's a lot of times where I feel like I need to protect her because not all family members have good intention. And not all family members just understand what somebody who is aging needs when they're used to being able to take from that person all the time. There's been a lot of trying to rescue in the aspect of protection and advocating. But I'm also in a place in my life where I need to advocate for myself. And I think the distraction of advocating for my grandmother kind of pulls me away from really having to do it for myself. So for anybody who may be listening, if you're in that mode where you're actively shifting into learning like where your priorities really lie, if you're still kind of navigating through trying to rescue and show up, if you feel really strong energy that you want to pour into others, but maybe it's not a space that is fruitful, maybe it's a space where you feel like I'm constantly trying to pour and help, but my help is not received, turn that thing around because you probably need it more than the person that you're trying to give it to. So I would just encourage you guys to sit with it.
Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. I think that being vulnerable can be very scary, because it's things that you possibly internalize or just keep to yourself. But there's a lot of community when you decide to open up and share. And then there's also resolution that comes. You'll never find the answers that you really need if you are afraid to even say that you need the answers. So don't be afraid to be vulnerable.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I think for me, just really sitting in that we are enough. We are divinely created. This one book that Pastor Sarah Jake Roberts wrote, and in one of the chapters, she talks about how we're always connected to source, even when sometimes there's a blockage and we may not feel connected, we may not feel like he is there. We are always with him. Like the Lord is with us. God is with us. We are enough. We don't have to show up as anybody else. We don't have to be a role model, all the other things that we talked about in this podcast. We're enough. And just having the breath of life in us and having another opportunity to show up as our authentic selves another day is more than enough. So like you said, take it day by day. Keep God first. You enough. We got this step by step, but we got it.
Ashe.
Yeah, for me, I would say express yourself to yourself before you go express yourself to somebody else. Because a lot of the times we don't really know how to explain how we feel. That's because we haven't actually sat with it within ourselves first. So yeah, that's definitely something that I would like to impart to everybody else.
All gems. Powerful, powerful. So guys, that concludes this episode. We want to invite you to tap in with each one of the lovely ladies here. Their socials and how you can connect with them as far as their websites and all the things will be linked in the description of however you've reached us, whether this is YouTube, Spotify, whatever listening platform. We want you to connect with our beautiful women after this moment. We thank you for listening in always. Liara, Monique, Denise, thank you guys for spending time with us today and just sharing your experience. I know there are so many women that are going to hear this that are able to move forward or maybe even shift in their lives because they see that you guys are have the courage enough to continue to grow, unlearn, and be just the beautiful beings that you are. So we thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course. This will not be the last you see these ladies. This is actually a preliminary to something else we're going to be quiet about for now. But if you're in the Hampton Roads area, I beg of you, get acquainted with these ladies because there will be an opportunity to engage in other ways. So we look forward to connecting with you in the future. Have a beautiful day. We'll see you on the next episode.